Hey, what's up guys, it's TA1K or Taylor here, and today I'm going to be doing something different, something I've never really done before, but I'm really excited to try. If you don't know, I'm really into horror movies, horror collectibles, stuff like that. I have a horror collection, and recently I've been getting into the Michael Myers masks and the different conversions and the rehauls and such like that, and basically I ordered a Michael Myers mask from a seller on Mercari, which is a shopping app if you guys don't know. And basically, it's not very good condition. It looks exactly like the Michael Myers from Halloween 5. But needless to say, let's just get into it. I'm just going to open this bad boy up and basically show you what the mask looks like. And then we can figure out what we're going to do with it from there. And basically, I'm going to try and convert this completely into a Halloween 5 mask. So, straight off the bat, I'm going to say it isn't terrible. It's not super thin, so that's a good start. It's actually relatively thick. It's latex. Of course, it's made in China. But let's flip to a quick little display of it. Okay, so I know this doesn't look too great, but I tried my best to stuff it. Right now, it kind of almost looks like the Dick Warlock Halloween 2 mask, just the way that it's all scrunched up and stuff. But basically, this has a pretty good sculpt for what it's worth. If it was a little bit better stuffed, because I just stuffed it with some t-shirts, if it was on an actual mannequin head, you could see that it actually does look like a Halloween 5 mask. And I think that the only real issue that I can see here that might come up as a problem is the hair. Just seeing how it looks relatively cheap. Some of it already came out when I was just messing with it, and as you can see, it's not rooted very well. You can still see parts of the mask underneath it, even if it is combed down. You could still see the mask through certain parts of it, as you can see here, and there is some balding. But basically what I'm going to try to do with this mask is I'm going to go over this with some liquid latex and some acrylic. And basically, you look so angry, you look so grumpy. Okay, so I'm going to go over this with some liquid latex and some acrylic. Then I'm going to basically try to tone out the lips, make it less black, because there's no way these need to be this black. And then, if I can, I'm going to try and comb out the hair the best I can, and put some hairspray in it, style it basically. And then I'm going to put little bits of hair over the eyebrows, to make the eyebrows, as you can see on the actual Halloween 5 mask that I'll put up on the screen up in here. So that's the plan. I'll let you know how it goes, and I guess I'm just going to document my entire process. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this, but if I do good, I'm thinking I might go into rehauling Michael Myers masks just for a hobby. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so I don't know if you can hear me very well, but this is what the mask looks like on the face right now. It looks pretty good, honestly, and it's a nice fit. But overall, it looks kind of like the Rob Zombie paint job over a 5 mask. I don't know really what they were going for with this mask. But if I rehaul this, I think that this will look really good. Yeah, that's about it. Let's just get into it. So to start off, I'm basically just going to start with a pretty wide-toothed comb, just because I don't want to pull out a lot of the hair. I just want a little bit of it to come out, and I also just want to straighten out the majority of the stuff that's basically knotting up the hair. So I'm just going to kind of go over this very lightly. I'm not going to go too rough on it because, like I said, I don't want to pull out hair. And yeah, so here comes like just basically a little time lapse of me trying to comb out the hair to the best of my ability. Alright, so as you guys can already see, the hair is looking much better. It's not as knotted. It looks a lot more fluid. I know that there's a little bit, you can see like the layers in the back, but in all honesty, I feel like once this is hairsprayed and just styled, I think this is going to look fine. I am a little bit concerned with the length down here, so I might have to cut it and just fix a little bit of that. But overall, the hair is looking relatively good now, and I think that we're ready to go into the painting step. Okay, so here we have Myers all stuffed. We have him in a little ponytail right now, so none of the hair gets caught in the liquid latex paint. And basically what I'm going to do right now is just trim up the eyes, because as you can see, they're a little weird, and there's some bumps and stuff that I really don't want in there. So I'm just going to trim those up, make it look a little bit better, and then we can start the painting. So basically what we have here is some liquid latex. I have some white acrylic paint, and then I'm going to be going into the darker, so this is a black acrylic paint. We're going to use this for weathering, and then I'm also going to have to make my own brown out of these different colors because I don't actually have a brown with me. And basically this is actually not clear liquid latex, which is what I originally intended to buy, but they didn't end up having it. So basically we're going to be making sort of an off-white color with this very bright white, and just kind of go over that, and it's going to look fine because when I end up weathering it, it's actually going to look like the normal Myers color. So hopefully everything will work out great, and I will also eventually be cutting some of this loose hair off and putting it on the eyebrows. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so a good thing to note when you're mixing the paint for the liquid latex, what you want to do is you want to start mixing the paint beforehand, because if you're using the right latex, which I'm not, so I'm going to have to compensate by mixing it until it's the right color. Basically, you want to mix the paints beforehand because the latex is going to dry clear, even though when it comes out of the bottle it's a kind of a weird color. So yeah, just keep that in mind if you're doing a mask sort of like this one with clear latex. So in here, I just have a little dab of white acrylic paint, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it basically what I'm going to do is mix it with this liquid latex and just try to do sort of a half and half ratio, if not a little bit more, because usually what they say to do is do 2 liquid latex parts to 1 paint part, just to make sure it looks well. And this is kind of the color that we have right now. It's kind of an off-white, so basically what I'm going to do is put just a tiny bit more white in it, just to start getting it to the color I want it to be. There we go. And you want to just mix that in. And you kind of want to work fast when it comes with this, but also just remember to take your time and make each stroke count. And don't mix all your paints at once, because if you do, they will dry, and that is not something you want. Okay, so I don't know if this is going to be a good camera view, but this is basically the one I'm going to use for the painting portion. So basically, while you're painting, just make even strokes of paint. You can always go over them in layers, so don't worry about them being patchy. And you want to be super careful around the hair, because it will stick to it and there's no getting it off. So just be super careful. Try to pull the hair back the best you can when you're painting. And actually, I'm going to wait to go around the hairline, just because I don't want to risk getting paint all over it. And just make clean strokes, just so that it's easier to go over later when it dries. And the reason you want to mix liquid latex, if it isn't very apparent, is because the mask is made of latex, and latex sticks to latex better than acrylic, and it will prevent the mask from cracking if it is being worn or anything like that. So just have patience. A good thing to do is also to mix a little bit of water, which I think I'm going to do. I'm going to mix a little bit of water in with this, just so that it's a little bit easier to work with. Oh shoot. Another thing, be very careful with your clothes. Don't wear anything you're willing to not get dirty. And just take your time, like I said, be patient. Okay, another thing that you kind of want to remember when you're painting these is don't put on super thick coats because it won't dry well. So just basically do very thin coats multiple times. And if you ever want to just take it off, you can just take if you feel like you went a little bit too far in one place and stuff like that, you can always take a paper towel and just wipe it off and it'll come off instantly. Another thing to note, you kind of always want to have your brush going one way. Try not to have it going left and right and up and down and all that, because it will make it look a little bit messy. And like I said, don't worry about the coloring, because you can always go back and change it later, especially if the mask is white. If you need to add more white later, you can always do that. If you want to take some white away, you can always do that. This mask is just your project. It's whatever you want to do with it. Dry brush it the best you can. Don't add too much latex. And I've been kind of messing up here. I've added a lot of latex. And you just want to dry brush it as much as you possibly can. Adding too much latex will make it dry, patchy. You really don't want that. So just dry brush the latex you have, and it will look very, very nice. I know it can get a little bit difficult at times because this isn't like normal paint. This is actually way thicker, and you don't want to dip it like it's normal paint. You want to just keep dry brushing the best you can to make sure there's no brush marks. But once you get the hang of it, it's actually much easier than it seems. Also, if you are working with this stuff, remember that latex sticks to latex. So if this mask folds over, it's not going to be a very pretty sight. Everything can be fixed. It just takes time and patience. Okay, so this is what the mask looks like after just a few layers of paint. And I also did the back as well, not as carefully. But I also did one layer of weathering, as you can see by some of the dark areas, just because it's good to do that. And also, as it's drying, you want to coat it with a little coat of baby powder, because when liquid latex dries, it's actually sticky, so you have to basically put a little bit of baby powder on it between layers, so that way you don't brush off the paint when it peels. That kind of happened over here, but that's okay because I'm going to cover it up a little bit later. I think he's done. Now we need to do the eyebrows. So we'll be doing that on the next step. Alright, so basically I've been mixing colors for the last really long time, and I got this kind of brown, and basically I don't have brown paint, so I've just been mixing. And now I'm basically just going to draw the eyebrows, and hopefully it will go good, because this mask actually doesn't have the shape of the mask from Halloween 5. So we're just going to go for it and hope it looks alright. If you mess up, just wipe it off, because it'll come off. As you can see, it just takes a little bit of elbow grease. Okay, so as you can see now, I've added quite a bit of weathering. I put a lot of what looks like dirt, And I've filled in the eyebrows, and I know that the eyebrows really don't look like what they're supposed to on the original H5 mask, and that's why I added so much weathering in an attempt to make it look a little bit meaner. But the eyebrows are actually from the original H1 and H2 masks. And yeah, that's about it. But basically, I'm just going to show you guys how to weather if you guys have no clue what I'm talking about. I'm going to do some weathering right here in between his nose and his mouth. So basically what you want to do is you want to put a little bit of paint right here, and then you just want to get a wet washcloth or a wet paper towel and just wipe it off, and that's literally it. And I don't know if you can tell, but it gets darker. So okay, so I've done a lot of weathering to this thing, and at this point I've added some dirt around the ears, a little bit in the hair, around the eyes, the eyebrows, the nose, the mouth, the chin, everywhere basically. Okay, so I've completely put baby powder on every square inch of this mask just to make sure that it isn't sticky and it's smooth everywhere. And now for my final step, I'm going to take some tacky glue, which is right here. This is actually really good for masks to use. So if you're going to use anything on masks, definitely use liquid latex and tacky glue. This is the only stuff that will really stick to it very well. And basically I'm going to go over it, and it dries clear too, and then you go over the eyebrows here and here, and then I have some hair that I cut off, and I'm just going to paste it on there. So it may not be easy to see in this lighting right now, but I actually glued some hair to the eyebrows, and I just have to go over it with some scissors and snip around the edges, basically just to eliminate all the hairs not being on the eyebrows. And then after that I'm going to take the hair out of a ponytail, hairspray it, and then cut it to the point where it looks like the actual mask. And then this is done. Alright everyone, so we're coming in on the last few steps of the mask. I've taken the hair down, and as of right now I'm just going to hairspray it, put some styling into it, and then I'm going to cut the bottom because it's pretty long and it doesn't have to be that long. So I'm just going to set up the camera, and then I'll do this really quickly so you guys can see. That's a lot better. Oh my god. Okay, so this is what the end product looks like. I cut the hair a lot shorter, and I hairsprayed it down. And then on the inside I put my signature right there. So now we're going to get into putting it on my head. Oh, that is nice. I'm gonna do a 360 in my chair. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed.